Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. From today we will learn C++. Here you can see I have created a folder C++. To run C++ in your PC you have to install MinGW. Okay, I mean a GUI. Here if I search MinGW installation manager, here you can see the file. So you have to download it and you have to install it. Okay, so to download and install it you have to go to the browser and you have to search for MinGW Windows 64. That's it. And here you can see you just have to download it. Go for the download and it will actually start downloading, and when the download will be complete you have to install it. Okay, so I'm assuming that you can actually download it and install it in your PC like other application, and then when you install it, I mean the installation will be complete, then you have to create a path in the environment variable. So you have to go to the installed drive. In my case here you can see local disk C. So you will find a folder like this MinGW. You have to go here and then bin, and you have to copy this path. Okay, and then you have to search here system environment variables and you will find like this, and you have to click here then environment variable, and then you just have to select the path and go for edit. And here you can see I have added it. What you have to do, you have to just click here new here and then you have to paste it. Okay, that's it, and then press OK and it will actually add the MinGW path. Okay, then OK and OK, that's it. And you can download a code editor like code blocks. Here you can see code blocks, but in this series tutorial I'm going to show it inside, I'm going to show it using Visual Studio Code. Here you can see I have installed Visual Studio Code. If you don't know how to install Visual Studio Code, let me show you. You just have to search Visual Studio Code here and just download this, and then select Windows. According to your operating system. If you are using Mac, then you can go with it. So click here Windows and it will actually start downloading, and then install it like other application. So here you can see I have installed it in my PC. You will find interface like this. What you have to do, you have to click here and here you have to add a folder. Okay, and go to the extension and you just have to install it, C or C++. Okay, here you can see I have installed it already. You just have to install it, that's it. Then close it, close extension, open the folder I have created in my PC. Here web development drive, here you can see C++. You can drag and drop it like this. Let me remove this folder from here, or you can actually open folder from here, then go to the target destination and open it. This is the C++ file. Now let's say I want to create first file. So to create a file you have to give here any name, let's say test, then you have to use an extension with dot sign. So use dot and then extension for the C++ is CPP. If I press enter here you can see this is the test.cpp. So here at first I have to include a header file, and that is like include then so the header file we need here is iostream, iostream. It means input output stream, and then we have to say here using namespace then std, and then we need a function that is called main function. Whenever you find parentheses like this you can assume that it's a function, right? And it has also a body. Here you can see using curly braces. So inside it, let's say I want to print something, so I will say cout, then we have to say like this, hello C++. Now I want to run this code, so I'll go here and I will say run code, and here you can see it's showing on terminal, and this is the output, hello C++. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to write C++ and how to write comment in C++. So let's start the video. Here I'm going to create a new file. I'm going to say first.cpp because the extension is .cpp. Why? For the C++. And here we have to include a header file. So hash include a header file IOSTREM. So this is called input output stream. Whenever we need to say, we need to output something, or we need to show something as output, and we need to say, take input from the user, that time actually we can use this header file. We have a bunch of different header file in C, but for now I am going to show it only. So next thing is using namespace std, and then you need a function, and that is called main function, and its name also main, right? How can you ensure that it's a function? So it has a data type and name, and then parenthesis, and a body using curly braces, opening and closing curly braces, and inside it you can actually print anything. So you can print using cout, and then this sign, then double quotation, my first C++ program. And here you can see our function has a type integer, so we should return something, and that is, let's say, return 0. If I run the code, here you can see my first C++ program. Here you can actually show anything. It's a string, right? Because it is inside double quotation. We can actually show here value also, integer value also. So we'll talk about all the data types in our upcoming video. Let's say I want to show 23, and if I run it, it will show 23 for me. Now let's say I want to show string and number at the same time, so I can say here like this. So let me remove the full line at first. So I need cout for output something. So cout, I can use here cout only because of this header file. If I remove this header file, it will show me error. Here you can see red line here, right? Cout. So I have to use here this header file iOS stream, and then I need to use cout for output. Then I have to use this sign, and now I will use this string. I will say the number, I will say your age is, here I'm going to say I want to show a number in the same line also, right? So I will use this sign, and then I will say 23. And we know in C++ every single statement will close with semicolon, so we have to use it. If we remove it, you will find error in the next line. Here you can see. Now let's run the code. Here you can see your age is 23. So we can actually show string and number at the same line. Now let's say I want to make comment. So how to comment in C++? So to comment in C++, we can actually comment out something in two different way. One is single line comment, and another one is multi-line comment. Let's say I need a single line comment. So I will say, let's say single line. So I want to make this single line as comment. I want to comment out it. So what can I do? I can use here double slash only. So here you can see the line is comment out, right? But let's say I will say here single line, or I can say here that line 1, then line 2, then line 3. Here you can see we will find error. Why? Because we haven't actually comment out it. So we can comment out multiple line in two different way. We can actually select all of them and press Ctrl then slash. So it will actually create every single line as comment. But some code editor will actually not give this opportunity. So what you can do, you have to use here multi-line authentic way. So the way is you have to use slash and then asterisk sign, and in between them you have to put them. Here you can see now these are multi-line comments. I hope you understand. Now let's say I want to go to the new line. So how can actually you go to the new line? So if I run the code, here you can see your age is 23. Now let's say I want to show this age here, I mean in the new line. So I can do it like this. Let's say I want to cut it from here, and then I will say cout and then 23. If I run the code, here you can see they are still in the same line. So we have to use here something else, and that is \n for the new line. If I use it, now it will actually go to the new line. Here you can see your age is 23 and 23 is in the new line, right? You can actually use here space also, I mean tab. If we use here \t, it will create enough space and then it will show the number. If I run the code once again, you can see the difference, and here you can see it create a space, and that is actually tab space only because of this \t. If you want to use, let's say your age is inside double quotation, you can actually do this. How? By using this sign. So now I'm going to remove this t because I want to show them here. Okay, so you have to close it also. So you have to use this one to actually show something inside double quotation. If I run the code, you will see the output. Here you can see your age is inside double quotation, right? Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this video I'm going to show you how you can declare a variable. I mean I will talk about C++ variables in details. So what is variables? Variables means a something where actually store value. So let me create a file first, and we will actually give some examples so that you can understand well. And first of all, I will say here variables.cpp for the C++ extension. Here we have to use header file, that is include ios tream input output. You're using namespace std, need a function, and that is main function, and I will say return 0 because we should give here a type because it has a return type, right? Okay, now here I'm going to make a comment here, and that is at first we will actually learn how to declare a variable. And let's say what is variable? So the variable is a collection, where we store value. So how to declare a variable? You have to use here a data type at first. So what is data type? We will actually create another video for this. For this video, you just have to remember what is how to write the variable actually. And we will talk about different kind of data types in C++. Okay, don't worry. And here at first you have to give data type and then a variable name, variable name, and then value. I'll use here equal sign. Okay, so at first you have to use data type. So I actually make them using underscore. I want to concatenate them so that everyone can understand. Okay, both of them are same word actually. Okay, so here at first you have to use data type. So we'll actually create a new video for this data type. Okay, but at first let's say int. Int means integer. So we know integer is a complete number, right? Integer, and then our structure is a variable name, right? So we have to give a name. Let's say age, for the age of a person. Okay, and then we need to actually say here equal and then value. So value is, let's say 23 or let's say 29. Okay, so now we have a data type, we have a variable name, and that is age, and we have a value. So it's a variable. And now we will learn how to declare a variable. You can actually declare a variable. Okay, how? Let me show you. you can actually give the data type and then name and then semicolon, because we know every single statement will end up using semicolon in C++. Okay, but if you think about Python and other languages, you don't have to actually use the semicolon or something like. Okay, so now we can actually create variable. So this is called create a variable or initialize the value, variable or initialize the value. And this is how I mean, you have to mention the variable name and then 29. Here you can see so these two line, so this line is the combination of these two line. Okay, so I'm going to comment out all of them. And now let's say I want to declare a variable. So actually I'm going to cut it from here and I'm going to paste it here. Okay, now this is the variable and we can actually print it. So how we know to print something in C++, you have to use cout and then the variable name age. We can actually use here any string like your age is. Okay, so how to use them? I mean, we have to use here backslash, sorry, double quotation, right? And then we have to use this angular sign, two angular sign. And here we can say that, okay, we can say here that your age is, we can actually go for the new line by backslash n, or if you want to, I mean, create a space, you can use backslash t. And if I run the code, here you can see the age is 29. So the variable is where we actually store value. If I say here string name, if I say like this, let's say Yamin, okay, and if I add one more line and if I say that your name is backslash t, okay, we can actually use here backslash n for the new line. Then I'm going to use here backslash t for the space, and here I'm going to say what name. If I run the code once again, here is the changes. Your age is 29, your name is Yamin. So the space is here because of this space, so we can actually remove this space, and if I run it once again, you will see the changes here. So we can actually print multiple value in a single line by using this sign. Okay, so here you can see this is called variable, and this age and name are variable, okay, where we actually can store value. So this is called variable. We can actually declare multiple variable in a single line, like let's say int x, y, then z or g, whatever we say, and then we can actually initialize them, like x is equal to 10, y is equal to 20, and z is equal to 30. Let's say they are containing same value, so we can actually write like this: x is equal to y is equal to g is equal to 50. Let's say if I say here x, the value will be 50. Here you can see. If I say y, the value will be 50. Here you can see. Why? Because all of the variable containing same value. But here you can see x value is 10, y value is 20, and g value is 30, right? But we have actually changed in the next line. Here you can see we have set x, y, and g value same, and that is 50. So these are the way you can actually declare or create variable, and you can initialize them, okay, and you can print them. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Now let's learn C++ constants. What is constant and why we need it? A constant is a data type that is read-only, I mean unchangeable. Let's say I want to define a variable, so I'll actually create a new file at first, and let's say the file name will be constant.cpp. Here we need hash include as iOS stream, right? The header file iOS stream. Then using namespace std int main, the main function, then return zeros. So now here I want to say int x is equal to 10. I can actually change the x value to 20. If I see out it, here if I run the code, you can see the output will be 20. You can see the output is 20. But the x value, initially we initialize the x value as 10, right? But here we can actually change the x value. Let's say you need a variable and you don't want to change any value for it. That time actually you can use constant, because constant variable data type is kind of read-only and unchangeable, and you can actually declare it's only, or you cannot initialize the value. How? Let me show you. For the constant variable, you have to say the keyword const, then let's say int, then let's say number. We can actually say here, let's say 15 for now. And if I say num is equal to 10, here you can see I get an error. If I say num, still we have the error. Why? Identifier num is undefined, but we have defined it, right? Sorry. If I say here number, if I say number, now you can see that expression must be a modifiable value. It means we have actually used here constant data type, right? I mean, we have used here the keyword constant. So now we can actually change the value, and we actually cannot initialize also. Let's say if I say int x, we can actually initialize it, right? But if you think about this constant here, you can see you will get an error here. Why? Because we cannot actually initialize constant variable. Okay, that's it. So this is the constant. I hope you understand. If you don't want to change the value, use constant. Welcome back to another video. In this video we will talk about C++ data type. So you can actually learn all the things from W3 school. If you go to the W3 school, here we have C++, you can see. So here, from here you can actually learn everything. So we have different data types here. You can see boolean, character, integer, float, double. We can actually use them. Now let's say I want to use them, so I will create a new file. Here I will say data types.cpp. Let me copy some this two line from the previous file. Okay, here I'm going to say int main return 0. So we have different data types like int for the integer number, float for the decimal number, double is also kind of decimal number. Then we have char for the character, we have boolean, bool for the boolean. Okay, we have a string. So let's talk about all of them. So to declare integer type variable, you have to use the data type integer at first, then a variable name. Let's say x is equal to 10. If I see out it, if I run the code, here you can see 10. But what about 10.2? If I run the code, you can see it's showing 10 only. Why? Because my variable type is integer, right? So 10.2 is float, so we can actually use 10.2 here. If we say float y is equal to 10.2, and now if I show y, I will say backslash n, not slash, backslash, okay, slash n, then y. Run the code. Here you can see 10.2. Now let's go for the double. So we'll say double, then value, let's say g is equal to 1 point, let's say 3.1416. Now let's say I want to show let's say g here. If I run the code, here you can see 3.1416. All right. Now let's go for the character. So I will say char, let's say n is equal to, I'll say yamin, let's say, so y. So character is a single character, not a full string. What is a string? You have to write like this, string. And if I say name, then you can actually say here yamin. If I paste it, and if I say n, and then I'll paste it once again, and here if I say name, then you can actually see the all those output here. Here you can see y, then m. So this is the integer, this is the float, this is the double, this is character, and this is m. Now what about boolean? Boolean is true, false. So if I say bool student, let's say I will say true. So if I paste it here, and if I say student, it will show me 1, because true is 1, false is 0. You can see 1. In C++, we define true as 1 and false as 0. And 0 as false, right? 1 as true, 0 as false. So these are data types we need in C++. We can actually use them in different way. So we can actually use boolean in conditional statement. Let's say I will check if it is yes or not. That time actually we can use boolean. Are you a student or not? We can use boolean value, I mean variable. So all the data type actually need in different purpose. We'll check boolean, I mean the real-time use of boolean in a fields. We'll do this in our upcoming videos. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Welcome back to another video. In this video, we will talk about C++ operators. I'm going to create a new file, operators.cpp. Now let's talk about operators. We'll comment out it, and I will say all the operators. So we know plus, minus, multiplication, that is called asterisk sign, and then division, then modulus, then we have plus plus for the increment, minus minus for the decrement. We'll talk about everything, don't worry. At first, if I say int x plus y, int x comma y, and if I say int result is equal to x plus y. So this x plus y is equation, and here plus is operator and x and y are operands. Okay, so for this equation we have an operator and two operands. Okay, so we need operator to actually do summation, multiplication, subtraction, addition, division, modulus, increment, decrement. So now let's do it one by one. First of all, let's say I want to show value. So x value is, let's say 10, y value is 20. So the x plus y value will be 30, right? If I see out it, result, here you can see 30. Now let's go for the subtraction. Here let's comment out it, and let's go for the next line, and I will say int result is equal to x minus y. What will happen here? It will show minus 10, right? Because the x value is 10, y value is 20, so y value is greater than x, right? So it will actually show minus 20, but it will do subtraction. You can see minus 10, right? 10 minus 20 is minus 10. Let's go for the multiplication. So I will say, actually I don't need to actually do here I don't want to actually comment out them, so I can actually change the value. Let's say 20, and here let's say 10. So now let's go for the result is equal to x multiply y. So the value now will be 20 into 10. So the value will be 200, right? If I run the code once again, the value will be problematic. Result 2, result 3, let's say. Result 2, result 3. Now the third result will be, so I should actually show them in new line, right? Okay, no problem. I'm going to use here \n for the new line. Copy them single line. If I run the code, here you can see the output. The first one is 30 because 10 plus 20 is 30. Then 20 minus 10 is 10. Then 20 into 10 is 200. Now let's go for the division. So we can actually use here float value, right? For the division, float. Let's say result 4 is equal to x divided by y. So the value will actually, okay, so you have to see out it, right? So result 4. If I run the code, the result will be 2, but here you can see we have float here, right? So we have to actually give here float value, like we'll say float x comma, I will say actually p comma q, let's say, and here I'm going to say p is equal to 10.5 and q is equal to 4.5. Now let's check. I will say p by q. If I run the code now, the result will be 2.333. Now let's go for a double. So double will act like this, and we have modulus. So modulus is kind of remainder. Let's say I want to divide 10 by 2, so the remainder will be 0, right? Because 10 divided by 2 is, 5 into 2 is 10, right? So 10 minus 10 will be the 0, so the result will be 0. Now let's go for the increment and decrement. Let's say I want to increment something, so we have two different way to increment something, and one is called pre-increment. Let me just give you an example at first. Let's say I want to increment the x value, so I will say cout. I'll say, let's say x plus plus. If I say like this, then if I run the code, the x value will be 20 here. I can say 20. Why? I have actually incremented, right? So x plus plus means x plus 1. So the value of x is 20. So the value will be 20 plus 1 is equal to 21, right? But here is showing 20. Why? We have actually incremented, right? So 21, it should be 21, but why 20? Because it's a pre-increment. It means it will actually change the value in the next line. Next line means here. But if you want to increment the value, change the value in the same line, you have to use here pre-increment. So the pre-increment means you have to use this increment sign before the variable. Now the value will be 21. If I run the code, here you can see 21. So value is changed, right? But when you use post increment, then the value will actually change in the next line. But when you use pre-increment, value will change in the current line. That's it. And same as decrement, if I say here minus minus y, it will show me 9. Let's go. Here you can see 21, right? And y value is 9. So we can actually give here new line we have to use here, right? Exclamation. All right, now if I run the code, it will show me in details. And here you can see 21. So 20 plus 1 is equal to 21, right? And now it will actually show in the same line because of pre-increment. And here you can see pre-decrement. So the minus value will be shown here. So the value of y will be 10 minus 1 because of this decrement. And here you can see 10 minus 1 is 9 and it's showing 9. I hope you understand. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. In this video, I'm going to talk about input and output. So far, we have learned how to output or print something. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can actually take input from the user and output also. So let's do this. Here, I'm going to create a new file. I'll say input output .cpp hash include iOS stream using namespace std int main return 0. All right, now here I'm going to make a comment. I will say user input at first. So we can actually use here a prompt. Let's say I want to use prompt that enter any number. I'll say any number. We can actually give here \n for the new line. We can actually go for the input. So I will say user. We have to say here cin, but here actually you cannot use this sign. When you use cin, you have to use these angulars. I mean, it's greater than, right? It's greater than sign twice. Okay. Then you have to say the variable. Okay, let's say x. So we haven't actually initialized the variable x, right? So we have to initialize the variable at first. So here, let's say I want to say int x. So we have to give here integer value. Let's say someone give us 10.2. Then it shouldn't actually show 10.2, right? So we can actually convert them. So we'll learn typecasting also, but not in this video. Here you can see we can actually get input, and we can actually now show output. So I will say cout and the value x. We can actually show here another text, and that is you have entered the value, right? So I can actually use here \t for the tab for the space, and here let's say this sign. If I run the code, enter any number, so we actually type here 25. If I enter, and here you can see you have entered 25. So this is actually you can take input from the user and show it like this. Remember, when you want to show something, you have to use smaller than sign twice, and for cin you have to use greater than sign twice. So these two signs are different, right, from each other. All right, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about C++ operators, and there is assignment operators. So let me create a new file here, and I will say assignment op.cpp hash include iostrem using namespace std int main. What is assignment operator? And here you can see the equal. This equal sign is called assignment operator. So we have we can actually use it like plus equal. Let me use here comma. Then we can use like minus equal. and then all the arithmetic operators with this sign, we can use them. So I will explain everything, don't worry. We have modulus, right? Yeah. Now let's say if I say int x equal to 2, then here this is called assignment operator. But if I use here double equal, then this is called equal sign. Okay, it means the equal sign means both value will be same. I mean the left and the right side, both value will be same. But when I will use here only a single equal, that time it is called assignment operator. We can use this assignment operator along with arithmetic operators. Here you can see plus equal, minus equal, asterisk, I mean multiplication equal, division, and then modulus. So if I write here, let's say x plus equal 1, it will basically work like x plus 1. It means 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So this plus equal will act like this variable, I mean this value with the right value. If it is addition, then addition. If it is multiplication, then multiplication. If I see out it, you can see the output x, and the output will be 3 here. Alright, here you can see 3. Now let's go. I will add here a new line, \n. Alright, so now let's go for the second one, and that is, let's say x. Now x is equal to, let's say 5, and I will say x minus equal 1. And now if I see out it, the result will be 5 minus 1, right? It will act like x minus 1. So the result will be 5 minus 1 is equal to 4. So second result will be 4. If I run the code once again, here you can see 3 and then 4. Now let's go with x into equal 2, let's say. Then what will be the output? Output will be 8. Why? Because x into 2 is the expression, right? And then x value is, current value is 4, right? Because here x value will be print as 4. So the current value is 4, then it will be 4 into 2 is equal to 8, right? If I run the code, or let me just run it once again, and I'm going to copy it, paste it here. Here the result will be what? 8. Let's run the code once again, and here you can see 8. Now let's go for the division. So the equation will be like x divided by 2, right? And the result will be x value is now 8 divided by 2, it will be 4, right? Let's see out it. The result will be 4. Here you can see now x value is 4. And now let's go for the modulus. So I will use here mod equal to 2, let's say. So what will be the output? So the equation will be like x modulus 2, okay, and here output will be, okay, so the current x value is 4, and then modulus 2, right? And the output would be 0. Why? Because by modulus actually we find the remainder, right? So 4 divided by 2 is 2 into 2 is 4, right? So 4 minus 4 is 0, so the result will be 0. If I run the code once again, here is the output, 0. Okay, so we have to actually see out it. So let me see out it. and here I'm going to actually run once again, and here you can see 0. All right, welcome back. Now let's go for the comparison operators. I'll create a new file here and I will say comparison.cpp. I'm going to copy everything from here and I will paste it here. I'll remove everything. All right, now let's talk about comparison operator. So in our previous video we have talked about assignment, right? So this is called assignment sign, and if we use double equal, then it will be comparison operator. It means it will actually compare that both value will be same. The equation, I mean the operator left operand and the right operand will be same value, right? Okay, so this is called comparison operator, and we have different comparison operator like not equal to, like is greater than, then smaller than, then we have greater than or equal, and we have smaller than or equal. So these are comparison operators, and we'll actually use them in conditional statement. So we'll talk about conditional statement later. So let's do some example so that we can actually understand well, right? All right, so I will say int x is equal to 2, int y is equal to 4. All right, now I will say cout, I'll say x is greater than y. So here you can see I have given here a statement, and here we have used equal to. It means the left operand and the right operand value will be same, and it will actually return us a boolean output, either true or false. So we know in C++ we will get true value as 1 and false value as 0. So if I run it, it will show us 0, right? Here you can see 0. Why? Because x is not equal to y, right? X value 2 is not equal to y value. And now let's go with the next one. So I'll use here like this comment, and now let's go, and here I'm going to say cout. I'll use here x is not equal to y. What do you think? It will actually return false, right? False is equal to 0, and it will return true, right? Because x is not equal to y, the condition is true, because x value 2 is not equal to 4. So the condition is true, it will return us 1. If I run the code, here you can see the output is 1. Now let's go for the next output, and that is greater than. If I say cout, if I say x is greater than y, is this true? No. So it will actually return us false, like 0. If I run the code, here is the output 0. Now let's go for the next one. So I will comment out it. Now let's go for the cout, and the next equation is x is smaller than y. Okay, smaller than. So what will happen here? It will actually return us true, right? So it will return 1. Why? Because yes, x value is smaller than 4, right? All right, so run the code, and here you can see output is 1. Now let's go for the next one, is greater than or equal to. So if I say cout, I'll say x is greater than or equal to y. Is this true? No. Why? When I will actually use is greater than or equal sign, it means we have two operators here, right? So it will actually execute twice, that either x value is equal to y or x value is greater than y. if any condition is true, then the result will be true. And here you can see both conditions false actually, right? Because x value is not equal to y and is not greater than also equal to y, right? So it will actually return us false and the value will be 0. If I run it, yeah, you can see 0, right? All right, now let's go for the next one, and that is smaller than or equal to. So I'll actually change a little here. Let me show you. At first I will say here smaller than or equal to, right, y. And now let's say I want to say here 8. All right, and this is 4. Let's say 8. Okay, so what will happen here? What do you think? Now let's check. So x, it will actually check twice, right? Because we have here two operators, smaller than and equal. So this is called smaller than or equal. So or means it will actually check either the first condition or the second condition. If anyone is true, then the result will be true. So let's check the first operators, that is smaller than. X is smaller than y? No, because 8 is not smaller than 8, right? So it's false. But let's go for the next operator, and that is equal. So x is equal to y. Yes, because x and y value both are same, right? We have changed the value. So now this is the condition is true. So as it is or, right, smaller than or equal, so or means either true or false. If anyone is false, I mean any of the condition is false, then if any of the condition is true, then the result will be true. So here the result will be true and the output will be 1. If I run the code, the output will be 1. Here you can see 1. So we'll talk about logical operators in our next video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about logical operators. So this is the last C++ operators actually. So now let's go for the logical. So I'll create a new file, logical op.cpp. Now let's go for the logical. So we have 3 logical operators. One is AND, another one is OR, and then NOT, this exclamation sign. So AND will actually check that. So these are actually operators. So it will actually stay in the middle of 2 operands, right? And it will check both of them are true or not. If any of them is true, it will return false. Why? Because AND will check both of them, both of the operators, operands are true or not. If true, then it will actually return true, otherwise false. But if you think about OR operators, it will check only one true. I mean, if it is find any of the condition or any of the condition is true, then it will actually return true. Let's say both of them are false, then actually it will return false. And what about not? Not means it will actually reverse the result. If it is true, then it will make false. If it is false, then it will actually make true. So let's give some example here. First of all, let's go with AND. I will say int x comma y, let's say, and here I'm going to say x is equal to, let's say, 20, y is equal to 30. So I will say cout, use \n at first because I have to give here 3 cout, right? Okay, so first of all, let's go with AND. So I will say if, not if actually, here I'm going to use this parenthesis and I will say x. I will actually use some comparison operators here. We have actually learned comparison operator in our previous video. Here you can see comparison operator. So these are actually called comparison operator. Okay, so we'll actually use comparison operator to actually understand well the logical operator. Here I will say x is greater than y and y is greater than x, or let's say x is smaller than y. Okay, first of all we use x is greater than, now let's say I want to use x is smaller than y. So this AND operator will actually compare these 2 equation. Okay, if both of them are true, I mean both of their result are true, then actually it will return true. So let's check the left one. So x is greater than y. Is it true? No, because x value is 20 and y value is 30. So y value is greater than x. So it is false, right? Then go for the right one. X is smaller than y. Is it true? Yes, it's true. But it will actually return what? False. And that is 0. Why? Because of this AND operator. So AND operator actually check both side is, both side value are true or not. If both of them are true, then it will actually return true. If any of them false, then it will actually return false. Now let's go and check the output. Here you can see 0. It means false. Now let's go with the second one, and that is called OR operator. So I will say cout. Actually, I'm going to copy it. Let's go and copy it. All right. Here, now let's say I want to use here OR operator. Same equation but with OR operator. It will return true. Let me explain why. True means 1, right? Okay. Because, is it true? No, because x value is not greater than y, right? And then it will actually check the right one. X value is smaller than y. Yes. So the right one is true, but the left one is false. But OR rules is, it will actually check any of them true or not. So here you can see the right one is true. So yes, the result will be true. If I run the code, here you can see 1. It means true. Now let's go with the third one, and that is not. So here I'm going to say, so here x is smaller than y, and outside of this bracket actually I want to use this exclamation sign. If I think about this equation, the logic is true, right? Because x is smaller than y, 20 is smaller than 30, right? So the output should be true, right? And it should return 1, but no way. It will return false, means 0. Why? As I mentioned earlier, not will actually reverse the result. If I run the code, you will understand. Let me delete all of them and run it once again. Here you can see 0. Why? Because of this not. So not will actually reverse the value. If it is true, then it will make false. If it is false, then it will actually make it true. Now let's say I will say here it's greater than y. The condition is true or false? False, right? Because x value is smaller than y. So this is false, but it will actually return 1. Why? Because now it will actually reverse the result. Okay, what is this? Let's run it once again. Here you can see 1. All right, so that's it. I hope you understand. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about conditional statement, and that is if else. We have different conditional statement like if else, switch case, then we have loop. So in loop we have for loop, while loop. So these are actually conditional statement. So in this video we are going to talk about only if else conditional statement. So if else, it's a conditional statement. It means it will actually check any condition, and we will actually use here some logical operators. Here you can see smaller than or equal to, greater than or equal to, not equal to, right? So these are logical operator, right? So we'll actually use if else condition. We'll use this logical operator to actually check the condition. So here you can see this is the syntax. Okay, so let me copy it, and I will actually create a new file here, and I will say if else.cpp. Here I'm going to say hash include IOSTREM stream, then using namespace std int main. All right, here I have to say return 0. Here let me comment out it. So I will say here multi-line comment, and I'm going to paste it here. Here you can see we have to write like this if, and then we have to use parenthesis, first parenthesis, and inside first parenthesis we have to use here condition. So that is the reason actually this is conditional statement. And if the condition is true, then we will actually do here some code to be actually executed, right? So now let's start it. Let's say I want to say here int age is equal to, let's say 29. I'll say if statement, then I will say here, let's say I'll say if age is equal to 0, I'll actually execute something. Here let's say I want to say see out, and I will say you are newborn, and I will add here new line, so I will say \n. Okay, and we have to close it using semicolon. Now I will say here else if. Now I will say age is greater than, let's say 18 or equal to, let's say if age is greater than or equal to 18, I will say see out. You can enter here, enter this website, let's say \n, then close with semicolon. And we have another statement, that is else. Let's say any of the condition is not true, then it will actually by default go to else statement. Here I will say you can't enter here. Now if I run the code, here you can see the output. You can enter this website because the age is greater than 18, right? If I say age is 0, then it will actually go for the first condition, right? If I run the code, here you can see you are newborn. It means if the condition is true, then it will actually enter the body and print if there is any output. Okay, we know we have if, we have else, and we have else if. So when should we use actually if, and when should we use else if? Here you can see I'm comparing only the value of age for the single variable with multiple values, right? So in this case actually I'm going to use else if. When you use else if, it means it will check multiple condition. If any of them is true, then it will not go for the next one. Let's say if the first one is true, then it will not actually go for the second one. If we use here if, then if any condition actually fulfill the criteria, I mean if the any condition is true, let's say the first one is true, although the first one is true, it will actually execute the second one also. So if will actually execute every single if statement, the first statement is true or not, it will go for every single if statement. But when you use else if, it will check one of them, either the first one or the last one, middle one. I mean if any of the statement is true, then it will actually terminate the code here. It will not go for some other if condition, and else is the default one. Okay, so I hope you understand. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about ternary operator. So this is the shorthand version of if else. Create a new file at first, and let's name the file as shorthand if else dot C++. I'm going to actually hide this bar, and here I'm going to say hash include iOS stream using namespace std int main return 0 int age is equal to 29. So let's define the structure at first. So the ternary operator is this one. So this question mark is a ternary operator. How to use it? Let's want to make multi-line comment. Okay, here I want to say the structure, and there is a data type at first. Okay, or I can actually write data type in a single word, variable, 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 then equal to, we need a condition inside parenthesis, right? And then we have to give this ternary sign, question mark. Then we have left side and right side, left, and it should be true, and we have to use colon, and then the next side is right side, and that is false. So at first data type, and then variable name, and then we have to give the condition, and then ternary sign. It means if the condition is true, then it will actually count the left one, then colon. If the condition is false, then it will go for the right one. So left one is true, right one is for the false. Super easy, right? So here I'm going to say int result is equal to the condition, let's say. So we know the variable is, let's say, is equal to 0, ternary sign. Then if it is true, then we will say what, the left one and the right one. So we'll actually print here string, and we will end the line as semicolon, I mean with semicolon. So here you can see if age is equal to 0, we will say here left side, we know left side is for the true, so I will say here you are a newborn, Actually I don't want to use here 0. Let's say I want to say here age is equal to 18. Okay, so you can enter this site, else you can't enter here. Now let's go. What is the problem here? A value of type constant character cannot be used to initialize an entity of. So the problem is here you can see we are using ternary operator, and we are actually showing output as a string, right? We are actually using this string inside integer variable. Is it possible? No, right? So we have to actually say here is string. Here you can see it's a string, right? So we are actually checking the integer value. Okay, fine, but we are showing the output as a string. So we have to keep this output in the result variable, right? So our result variable should be string type. I'll say here cout, and here I'm going to say result, and I'm going to use here \n, and we have to close it using semicolon. Now run the code. Here is the output. You cannot actually, okay, you can enter the site. Why? Because the age is greater than 18, right? 29. If I say 0 here, what will be the output? The else one. You cannot actually enter here. So there is a reason actually it called shorthand if else. I hope you understand. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about switch case in C++. So we already talked about some conditional statement, right? So switch case, if else, loop, so these are conditional statement, and switch case is one of the easiest conditional statement. Let's say you want to actually execute only one single statement, and if the statement is fulfilled, then you actually want to terminate the code, so you can actually go with switch case. I'm going to create here a new file, so let me just move it like this. Okay, here I'm going to create new file, and here I'm going to say switch case.cpp. This is the header file, and now we'll use namespace. So using namespace std. So now let's mention the variable here, and that is integer age, let's say, and start 0, let's say. So now we'll actually write switch case. So first of all, you have to write switch like this, and if you press enter here, you can see it create basic structure for me. So actually I'm going to create step by step so that you can understand well. I will say here switch, 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 and then we have to give here condition, then enter in the body. So in the condition we just have to mention the variable name. So this is the expression. Okay, and here now actually in the case we will define that what it will actually do. So case, so let's say here let's say 18, and here I'm going to say cout. I'll say here you can enter here. In switch case we have to use break. So let's say I have multiple case, but my value will match only a single case, right? So if the first case is matched, then actually it will break the code. I mean yeah, it will break the code here, and it will not go for some other cases. That is the reason actually we have to use here break. So we will actually talk about break, and another one we have is continue. So we'll create separate video for them. Now let's go for the next one, and we'll use here case, let's say 0, and here we'll say cout you are a new board. I can actually say here \n for the new line, then semicolon, then break. So here you can see my age is 0. So now I have passed the variable in the switch, so it will go for all the cases that which case actually match with this age variable, right? Age variable value. So here the first case, here you can see the value is 18, so it will not match, so it will not enter here, it will go for the next case. And here you can see the case value is 0, so it actually match with the age value, right? This passing parameter. So yeah, now we'll actually go inside this case and we'll print it. I mean it will print it, and then we actually break the code. So let's say I have multiple case after that, let's say 1, then case 4. So it will not actually execute other case, it will break the line here, right? Break the code here. That's it. That is the reason actually why we have to use here break. Now let's say if I run the code, what will be the output? Let's check. Here you can see you are a newborn because this case actually match with the value. Now let's say my value is 21, then what will happen? Or let's say -1. So here it will actually pass the age value, and then it will check case 1, age value is -1, but here 18, so it will not enter here. Then case 0, it is also not same as age, so what it will do? Nothing. And that is the reason actually we have here a default statement, default, and here we have to say the default one. I mean, if there is no case match with the value, then we will actually execute the default one. So the default one is you can enter here, and we have to use here break, right? Now if I run the code, now the default one will be executed. Here you can see you cannot enter here. If it is like this, then why we need switch case? We can actually do it using else if, right? Else if also do like this. I mean, check everything. If any case is true, then actually it will not go for some other cases. I mean other condition, what can I say, other blocks or for other conditions, right? So why need case? Here you can see we have passed the value, so we have all the cases here, right? So switch will actually go exactly direct to the value, so it will actually not individually check everything. It will go for this -1, and if it's not fine, then go for the default one. So it's a little faster than else if. That is the reason actually we will use switch case for direct things. Like you can see that we cannot actually say here that if it is 18 or more than 18, right? So for the specific things we can actually use switch case. On the other hand, we can actually use else if, right? So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about loop. So this is also a conditional statement. We have if else, we have switch case, now we have loop. So we have different loop, while loop, for loop, etc. So in this video we are going to talk about only while loop. So I'm going to create a new file here, and the file will be while loop.cpp. I'm going to copy everything from the previous one. I'm going to remove everything inside it. All right, now let's say I want to print from 1 to 10. So what I have to do, I have to every single time I have to initialize variable, right? So x is equal to, let's say, 1, then int y is equal to 2, then int z is equal to 3, and we have to do it 10 times, right? But what about 100 times, 1000 times, and more than this? That time actually we cannot initialize every single line. That time actually we can use loop, because loop will execute, I mean, within certain condition. Let's say I want to print 1000 words or 1000 number. So I have set here a condition, right? 1000 number. So it has certain condition, and it will actually run 1000 times, right? According to the condition. So it will actually reduce the line of code for us, and it will actually make our work short, right? So we don't have to write initialize variable and print out it 1000 times. We can actually do it using 3 line of code. So this is loop. So now I'm going to show you how you can actually initialize while loop. So the structure of while loop is you have to write at first while, and then press tab. It will actually create the structure for you. So here you can see while, and then we have a condition. We know inside this parenthesis we have to write condition, right? So the condition is I mean how many times actually the loop will be executed or run, and here we have to run the code. All right, so we have to initialize the value at first, that from where actually the loop will be started, and then we have to give here certain condition, and that is I want to actually print from 1 to 100, let's say. So, or let's say 1 to 10. So I'm going to say here that, okay, now x is smaller than or equal to 10, right? So this is the condition. Now loop will actually run for, to fulfill this condition. But here you can see the x value is 1. When I enter this condition, 1 is smaller than or equal to 10, right? 1 is smaller than 10. So the equation is fulfill that statement, right? So it will actually enter this body and it will actually print, let's say print the x value. So I will say cout, I will say x, and then actually I'm going to use here -t for the tab. All right, but to continue this loop, we have to go to the next value, right? Because we have to compare the next value until it goes across the condition, right? So we have to increment the value here. Otherwise, actually, we cannot go to the next value, because here x value is 1, but we can actually go to x value 2 if we don't increment it, right? So here we have to increment it. So now every single time it will actually enter the body, and then x value will be increased by 1, and then it will actually go to the conditional statement, and then it will check the condition, and then if the condition is true, then it will actually enter the body, and once again it will increment the x value till it fulfill the condition. So here now it will actually run 10 times, right? And then finally when the x value will be 11, here you can see x plus plus. So when the x value is 10, so when we actually increment it, so the x value will be 10 plus 1 is equal to 11, right? So here now x value is 11. So is this condition fulfill the criteria? No, because the condition is not true, right? Because x value is not smaller than or equal to 10, because now x value is 11, so 11 is not smaller than or equal to 10, so it will not enter this body, it will go outside. It means the code will be terminated. Now let's go and check, run the code. Here you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So this is how actually loop works, and this is the way to write while loop. You have to initialize first, then you have to give the condition in the body, sorry, not body, this conditional statement, inside first parenthesis, and then if the condition fulfill the criteria, then it will actually enter the body. So you have to write body like by using curly braces opening and the closing one, and we have to increment the value, right? So we have to increment it. That's it. I hope you understand. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to show you for loop. So for loop is one kind of conditional statement. As I mentioned earlier that we have different conditional statement like if else, switch case, and loop. So in our previous video we talk about while loop, but in this video I'm going to show you how you can actually write for loop. For loop, while loop, these all are loop, their activities or their output are same. In this video I'm going to show you how you can actually write for loop. So I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to type here for loop.cpp. Here I'm going to paste the code from the while loop, and I'm going to remove it from here to here. Okay, now here you can see in the body I have nothing. I want to print, let's say, from 1 to 10 like before in the while loop. So I'm going to initialize the value, let's say any variable, then value is start from 1, and then we have to write here for, and then we know the conditional statement, and then the body. Here you can see we have to initialize the variable at first, from where actually the loop will be started. But when you use for loop, you don't have to initialize anything before. You can actually do everything inside this conditional statement, and that is you can actually define a variable here, from where the loop will be started, and then the conditional statement, that is, let's say I want to show from 1 to 10, right? So I have to say here like this, or I can actually say here smaller than 11, then I plus plus. So we have to change this I to x, right? Because we have initialized the variable as x. All right, now we will actually enter the body, and here you can see we have increment the loop, okay, in the conditional statement. Here you can see we have incremented inside the condition, right? If I go to the while loop, here you can see we have increment inside body, right? But in loop we'll do everything inside condition, right? So here I'm going to say cout, I'll say here \n. Now I'll actually show it inside new line, So this X, and I'm going to close it using semicolon. So if I go to the while loop, here you can see we have to write 1 2 3 4 line of code. But if you think about from 5 to 11, so it's 6 line of code, right? But if you think about for loop, just 3 line of code. So for loop is much easier than while loop, right? Okay, if I run the code, it will do exactly same thing. And here you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So this is the for loop. We can use for loop if you need to do certain things. Let's say you have to do it for certain time, you can actually go with for while loop, but I think for loop is much easier than while loop, right? I hope you understand. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about break and continue. Let's create a new file here. Then file will be, let's say, break and continue .cpp. To understand break and continue, we have to run here a loop. So let's start with for loop, and here I'm going to say int x is equal to, let's say, 1, int x is smaller than 10, let's say, and x plus plus, let's say, int, okay, sorry, I have to remove this one, all right, because I have already initialized, right? And now let's say I want to print it, so I will say cout. Now let's say I want to use break and continue statement, so I want to give here a condition, that is, let's say, if x is equal to 6, we'll continue it. So this statement, continue statement, will continue to the loop. It means when the condition is true, the x value will be 6, then it will not go to the next line. I mean, it will not print it, it will go to the loop because of this statement continue. If I run the code, you can see the output. You can see we haven't actually 6 here. I mean, so 6 is not printed. Why? Because of this continue statement. Let's say I want to make here another condition, and that is, let's say x is equal to 9. If x value is 8, so it will actually break the code here. So break means the statement, if the statement is true, then it will actually break the loop. To stop certain process, we use break. When the x value will be 8, then it will actually go outside the loop. It will not print anything. So it will actually print from 1 to 7, right? If I run the code once again, here you can see 1 to 7. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about array. Let me create a file at first. What is array? So array are used to store multiple values in a single variable. Let's say I want to store from 1 to 10. So I have to write every single time, right? X is equal to 1, then y is equal to 2, then z is equal to 3, right? And so on. So we can actually, we don't have to actually initialize multiple variable. We can actually store them in a single variable, and that is called array. And how to define array? You have to declare the data type at first. I mean, to declare an array, you have to start with a data type and then array name, let's say number, and then you have to give the array size. So the size is, let's say, 1 to 10, so 10. Now you can actually initialize array value also within curly braces, and we just have to mention all the variable, I mean all the value. Let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and in array index number will be start from 0. Index number start from 0. But let's say I want to know the array length. That time actually the length count will not be start from 0. Okay, length start from 1. Okay, we can actually initialize array at first. Let's say number, and I want to actually comment out it. and we can say the array size, let's say 5, and here we can actually define array like this, and then we can actually add array value through index number. So we know index will be start from 0, right? So the 0 index value, let's say 1, and I'm going to copy it 5 times. Index 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here index number will be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Our array length is 5 because length will count from 1 to 5, but our index number is from 0 to 4, right? Why? Because index number start from 0. Now let's say I want to copy it. I'll say here number 2, and let's say I'll say here number 2. If I say 0 index is equal to, let's say 21, what will happen here? It will actually change the 0 index value, okay, and that is 1, and 1 to 21. So now 0 index value will be 21. So now if I see out it, if I say number 2 0 index, I can actually show you the result. Here you can see it will be 21. Here you can see 21. But initially, if we think about this array, the index 0 should be 1, right? Now let's say I want to show the one index 1, okay? So what will happen if I run it once again? Here you can see 2. So our 0 index value is changed, right? It was 1, but now currently 0 index value is 21. So let's say I want to show all the array value. So I can actually so I have to actually see out every single index, right? And that is, let's say, for loop. So I'll say here for, so I have to give here, I have to initialize a value, inside a variable, and the variable is I, and I have to start from 0. Why? Because my array index will start from 0, right? And here I'm going to say I smaller than the length 5, I plus plus to increment the value. Now here I have to say cout, mention the number, and then I'm going to use here \t. Now if I run the code, it will show me all the output, right? 1 2 3 4 5. Now let's say I want to comment out all of this, and I want to remove this, okay, into the number, and I don't want to actually initialize the length. So now let's say I want to find out, I want to show all of them here. I don't know the array size here, right? So to know the size of an array in C++, we have a method, and that is size of an array. So we just have to give the number 2, the variable inside of this size of method. So now it will actually find out the array size, and it will check all time the condition, okay? So if I run the code, here you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, let me just find out the length. I will say int length size of, I want to find the size of number 2. Here I will say length. Let's run it once again, and still giving the same output. Why? This is the typical way, but in C++ we have to say here, we have to divide it using once again size of, and then number to the index 0, okay? So now if I run it, it will work. Here you can see 1 to 10. So this is the static array, and we have a multi-dimensional array also. So in our next video we will talk about multi-dimensional array, because when we will talk about multi-dimensional array, we have to talk about nested loop also. So we'll talk about nested loop and multi-dimensional array in next video, okay? See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about multi-dimensional array. So I'm going to create a new file, and I'll say it multi array, let's say .cpp. So what is multi-dimensional array? Let me define array. So I will say number, let's say, and here for the multi-dimensional array we have to use double square brackets. Okay, double square brackets, and here the first one is for the row and the second one is for column. Let's say my array will have 2 row and 4 column, or 3 column, let's say. So here I have to insert value like this. Let's say number, then first of all 0 index of the first row and 0 index of the first column of the first row. So the value will be, let's say 10 or let's say 12, and then we have 0 index first row and then second column, so index number 1, 13, and then number, let's say 0 index. Okay, so we have 2 row, right? So we have actually complete the first. Okay, so we have 2 row, but we have 3 column, right? So for 2 row we know our index number will be 0 and 1, right? But for 2 column, but for 3 column we have 3 column right here, so we have to start with 0 index, then 1, then 2. So we have to go for the second index also, and that is, let's say 14. Now our first row is complete, right? Because in our first row we have 3 columns, we have write all the 3 column, right? And now let's go for the second row, that is number, and then second row index number will be 1, right? But in second row we have also 3 column, so the index number of the column will be 0, right, for the first one. And then let's say 22, and here I'm going to say number, index number, let's say 1. Why? Because we are in second row, but we have to go now second column, so 1. Then let's say 23, then go, our index number will be 1 because we are in second row, and now we have to go to the third column, so our index number will be 2. And now we have to say here 24, let's say. Now let's say I want to see out it, so what I have to do, I have to say here number. Now the let's say I want to show 14, so I have to give here 0 index and of the first row and then second column, right, like this. And if I run it, it will actually show me 14. Here you can see output. So this is called a multi-dimensional array. Now if I go to the array, here you can see we have used here a single for loop, but to show output from the multi-dimensional array we need multiple loop, and that is called nested loop. So I'm going to actually create a new video for nested loop, and here I will show you how you can actually show output using nested loop for the multi-dimensional array. So see you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this video I will show you nested loop. So nested loop means loop inside loop. Here you can see we have multi-dimensional array. If we think about a single static loop, we can actually work with a single row, or a single static array, right? For multi-dimensional array we need a nested loop. So first of all we have to write here for loop, and we have to say here, let's say int, right, because our array type is int, and array index will be start from 0, and then here I'll say I want to find out the length. So let's our length is 2, right, for I, and then I plus plus, and then we need one more for y, because we have another square brackets here, another initialization, another array, right? So first one is for row and second one is for column. So here our array type is integer, so I have to say here int, and then I have to change the variable to, let's say y will be start from 0 because index number is start from 0, then y is smaller than, now we have to go with the column value, and that is 3. So here we have to say 3, then y plus plus. Now I'll say here cout here I'm going to say our variable is what? Number, right? Array variable is number, and here I have to give I and then y. So when it will actually enter for the first time, the I value will be 0. So this is for the first row, and we know we have 3 column, right? So for the first row it will actually run 3 times. Now I value will be 0 and y value will count 3 times. So 0 0 0 1 0 2. Then it will actually complete this for loop. Then it will go to the next next row, because here you can see I plus plus. So now I value will be 1. Then 1 is smaller than 2, it will go inside once again, and it will run 3 more times for the second row. Okay, so this is the multidimensional array, and this is the nested loop. So to print multidimensional array, we need nested loop, right? Okay, so here if I run the code, let's see. Here you can see okay, so I have to actually remove it. Okay, all right, now let's run the code. Here you can see 12 13 14 22 23 24, but it should actually show in the next line, right? Because if you think about two row, this is the first row and with 3 column, and this will be the second row with 3 column. So I will actually use here a new line, and that is for cout. Here I'm going to say new line, let's say \n. That's it. Now run the code once again. Here you can see first row with 3 column, second row with 3 more column. So this is the multidimensional array, and this is called nested loop. I hope you understand. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to talk about for each loop. Here if I go to a W3 school, here you can see for each loop. So this is the syntax. Copy it and let's create a new file for it, and here I will say for each loop.cpp. paste it here. Now let's comment out all of them. So this is the structure for each loop. We have to write like for loop, and then we have to use the conditional statement and using parenthesis, right? First parenthesis, then type, then variable name, then colon, then the array name. So first of all we need to actually declare here an array name. Let's say I want to show some value and I want to store them in an array. So here I'm going to say integer number. So number is an array, and here I'm going to initialize the value, and let's say first value 10 20 30 40 50, let's say. Okay, and now I want to show them. So for each I have to say for, then type. So my variable, array size, variable type is integer, right? So I'll say here int, then let's say any random variable, x, y, or I. Okay, so any random variable, so I, and here I will say I. Okay, then we have to use colon, right? Then our array name, and that is number, and this I will actually work as index number. Okay, for this array, number array. That's it. And then here I have to say cout, and let me just return here 0, and here I'm going to say I, and I will go here, I will use \t. All right, that's it. Now if I run the code, let's see what will happen. Here you can see all the value 10 20 30 40 and 50. We don't have to actually initialize the array length also, right? Size of array also. This is the easiest way to actually run a loop. Here you can see we just have to initialize the variable and then the array, and in between them we have to use colon. That's it. And okay, let me give you an assignment, and that is, let's say I want to print here string. Okay, string name. So here I want to actually print some name. So name string, so we have to actually keep them inside double quotation, right? So first of all, let's say Yamin, then I want to say here, let's say Tanvir, then let's say Wasi. All right, I will say for each. Okay, so I'll say int I, and actually I want to comment out them, so you have to tell me that what is the problem here, if there is any error or not. Okay, so I'll say here name, and then say cout, let's say I, then name, sorry, backslash t, let's say. All right, so now tell me if there is any error or not. So I'm going to count down 5 seconds. You should answer me in the comment section. So you just have to find out the error and let me know in the comment section. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so here is the error, integer. If I remove it, here you can see we got an error here. Why? Because our array is string type, right? But when we are using for each loop, we are actually initializing data type as integer, but we can't actually do it. Why? Because our array type is string, so we have to use here exactly same array type, and that is string. And now there is no problem. If I run the code, it will actually show me all the results. Here you can see Yamin, Tanvir, Wasi. So that's it. I hope you understand. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video we are going to talk about functions. So here you can see we have syntax here, void my function, then parenthesis, then curly braces. So this is the body of a function, and this is the function name, and this is the function type. So void means it will actually return nothing. And we have main function, right? If I go to the code editor, here you can see we have main function, int main. It means this function will actually return something, and that's why actually we have to write here return 0, right? Because initially we will not return anything here, but we will return at least 0. Why? Because we have a return type here, integer. Let's say we have void here, so what will happen? So that time actually we don't need to actually return anything. Here you can see we got an error, and that is the red line, so we can't actually return anything, so we have to remove it. All right, now if I run the code, we will not get any error. But here you can see we got an error, and that is main must return integer. So for the main function we cannot actually use void, so we have to use int. This is the main function, so we don't need to actually play with it. We can actually create our own function, own defined function. Okay, we can define our own function, so that time we can use void or any other type. Let's say our function will return some other type. So yes, we can do this. So that is the reason actually we need function. Want to actually define some other function, so that here I don't need to write a lot of code. I will just call the function, and then function will be executed. So here is the syntax, and you can see here we have some text. Here you can see a function is a block of code which only runs when it's called, so we have to call it inside main function, this main function. Okay, so let's say I want to create a file at first, and that is functions.cpp. Here we have to write hash include IOSTREM at first, then using namespace std, then our main function, that is integer main, and it should have a return type that is 0, let's say, because we are not actually returning anything, so at least return 0. Okay, so this is the main function, and let's say I want to do addition, multiplication, subtraction, and so many things. So if I write all of them inside main function, it will be messy, right? But what about some other function? We will actually define all the function, and we will do some execution in this function, and then we will just call the function in the main function. So the main function will be neat and clean, right? So here you can pass data known as parameters. So as I mentioned that here inside this parenthesis, so here we can actually pass parameters. Let's say I want to do addition of 2 value, so I can actually pass 2 parameter here inside this parenthesis. If I zoom in, here you can see parenthesis. So then function are used to perform certain action and they are import for reusing code. Define the code once and use it many times. Okay, let's say I want to do addition multiple times. I mean, I want to do addition of 20 and 30, then I want to do addition of 40 and 50. So that time actually I don't need to do the code multiple times. I can actually call the function and it will actually execute all the things for me. Okay, and I just have to pass the parameter, right? If the function will actually take any parameter, that's it. So don't worry, I will actually show you some examples so that you can understand well. You can actually go through this W3 School C++ tutorials. These are super easy and they have explained everything in details. Here you can see. Then call a function. So let's say I actually define a function outside the main function and then we have to call a function. So they have shown us that how to call a function. We will learn it, no problem. Then function declaration and definition. So we can actually declare function and we can actually define function also. We can either return function or we can just, here you can see it just declare the function at first and the function has no body, right? So this is the declaration only, and then they have defined the function here with the body. So without body you can actually declare the function also like some other variables. Okay, now let's go with some example. So here let's say I want to do addition, so I will say addition, and here I want to pass two parameter. So here I'm going to say int x, int y. All right, so I have just defined the function, right? So this is called, sorry, declaration. Okay, function, I will say function declaration. Okay, declaration. And now I want to define the function, so I will say addition is the body, and inside it I need what? Parameter, and that is two parameter, let's say. And here I'm going to say int result is equal to x plus y, and it will actually return the result. So here I'm going to actually call the function. So I will say cout, then what? Then I want to call the function that is addition, and we just have to pass the parameter here. Like we need two parameter here, right? Our function has two parameter, so I have to give here value, let's say 20 and then 30. So I want the addition of 20 and 30, and I want to show in the new line every single time, so \n for the new line. Now let's go and run the code. Here you can see 50, right? I can actually say here a string also, and that is, let's say the result is \t. Run the code. You can see the result is 50. So let me explain once again. First of all, this is the main function, and here I have defined a function which will actually do addition for me. Okay, here you can see our function. I just defined the function, right? I haven't actually, I just declared the function, I haven't actually defined it. So our function has two parameter, so I have to define the function, and that's why I have to write it once again with curly braces. This is the body, right? So we have to use curly braces, opening and the closing one. Then here we have done the equation, and then when I call the function from the main function, the function will return something and I will actually cout it. Okay, let's say I want to create another function that is void. I have to actually initialize it first. Declare it first. So I will say void, I'll say subtraction, or I can say actually multiplication. Let's say multiplication. Here I need int x and int y also, because I will pass variable. And now I have to define the function that is void multiplication. I need a body, so curly braces, and here I need two parameter. One is x, one is y. Sorry, int y. So here you can see I have declared x here, y here, and here also xy. But it will not actually show us error because they are local variable. We have already talked about local and global variable, right? Okay, so I I mean the scope, variable scope, right? Okay, so in multiplication here, if I return anything, it will actually show me error. If I say result, return result, and if I actually copy it, let's say paste it here, if I say x asterisk sign and then like this, you will get an error. Why? Because our function has no data, I mean return type, right? It's a void, so it will not return anything. We just have to see out here, and that is see out. We have to say the result of multiplication is backslash n, let's say, and here I'll say result only. That's it. Now what I have to do, I just have to call the function, and that is multiplication, and I have to send the value, and the value like let's say 5,2, so it will be 10, right? Okay, so the first one will be 50, second one will be 10. Here you can see the result of multiplication is 10. Purpose of using function, we already know about it, to reduce the code redundancy, right? Now let's say I want to do multiplication once again, multiplication of let's say 10 and 20. Then what will happen? It will show us, I mean return us what, 200, right? But here you can see I don't have to actually write once again the function, but I can actually call the function multiple times, and this is the benefit of a function. If I run the code, here you can see the output is 200. The result of multiplication is 200. All right, that's it. That is the reason actually we need function. You can use here new line. Here let's say t. Run the code once again. Here you can see the multiplication result is 10 and then 200, and the addition result is 50. I hope you understand. That's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.